kills early.
I mean, 100%.
Almost here being popped here from Exile.
He's spotted, by the way.
Terrifying to silence the Cocoon. And the disengage, really important, but he flashes!
He gets over the chain of corruption. Trick is the target. Stand United was interrupted or cancelled. All of a sudden, Hillian
Potentially, but you see how G2, they see a pick in the jungle, they don't collapse. They know that Shen ulti is coming, so they keep their distance, force it, reset the fight. Now they can creep forward.
Exile trying to go Super Saiyan this game. He's dodging every single ultimate, but he's not finding the kills. 1, 2, and 0. Got a Hex Drink and a Ghost Blade. I am not scared of that talent at 27 minutes.
Oh, it's another Shen ulti as well that didn't result in any kills for Unicorns of Love. Simply just back away from G2's side. Just keep playing the slow game here, where now you get access to a tower because Unicorns just had the opening. They went for the aggressive play, it didn't work. Well, now it's G2's turn.
Guys, I know I was told off for this earlier, but we had the longest living Mountain Drake in game 1 of the series. We've currently got the longest living Cloud Drake.
And that's a really cool point, Trevor.
Thank you very much. Unicorns are looking for a shot to spin in mid as Xerxes is terrified away. Somehow, Unicorns hold onto that mid outer turret. They've lost 1 in the top lane, and G2 are now pushing back every single blow.
Unicorns are skipping some steps here, just starting the Baron straight away for the second time. It allows all of G2 to stay very safe, spot all the members of Unicorns. Oh, Trick might be caught though.
Trick is in a little bit of pressure. He manages to flash out to safety. Chain of Corruption is being held by Sven. Cannon Barrage comes down. Hellesang gets onto Perks, but he's dead already. Here comes the Shadow Assault. Mythi's the target, but he still stays alive. Sven, the flanking AD carry, is the deadliest AD carry. He's left alone for dead. Samus takes him out. It's a messy fight. 1 for 3. G2 are winning, and they're running away from Xerxes and Samus.
It all started with Unicorns of Love going straight for the Baron here, allowing G2 to get in position and take the fight.
Man, but if G2 played this any tiny bit worse, they get wiped and they lose the national control. There were so many instances of just smart, individual, mechanical play, honestly, on both sides. Trick, the way he dodges out, the instant repel into flash, then Sven coming in, the way Sven was actually playing forward in the team fights. The entire series, he's been playing backwards, but he's willing to go in. Like, watch this. Trick gets collapsed on, he sees Exile, he has to repel up, dodges silence, lands instant flash, then Sven comes in. Now, double pincer here. Perks knows that he may die, but he just goes in for our flash, and suddenly the aggression on Unicorns is so big and they don't know where to go. Samus is running, Xerxes is running, then they're fighting, are they not?
Taunt end up missing from Chachi as well, so Sven stays alive for a little bit longer, and then, yes, he goes down in the end, but it's a 1 team fight by G2.
Yeah, and Samus, in every single team fight, his first reaction has been to run away and then assess the situation. Whereas G2, they're not having that step. And in that sense, they are a much better team fighting team this series than the Unicorns.
That might allow G2 to pick up that first 3-0. They always go 3-1. Look at this, G2, 2,000 gold in the lead. They're starting Baron.
Good zone from Fiddlesticks, they're aware. They have Execute Smite on Trick. But G2 rarely make it into a 50-50. They're just using this as a bait, but now Perks has to be careful.
Oh, a little bit of trouble. Cannon Barrage comes down. Exile's the target of Stand United. The fight gets split up again. Look at Samus. He needs to get those autos down. Chachi kills Perks. The culling takes down Mithy. Samus gets one. G2, they're flanked. They might not be able to get away. Exile throws out the rake. He gets a slowdown. He wants to bring some Hamburg diplomacy. Exile parkours over the wall. Dashes to expect. Gets dropped. Sven is locked by the Nethergrass. Trick is scared, and Sven is dead. G2 are aced.
It's an ace for the Unicorns, and they're looking at Baron Nashor as the spoils of war, and they're keeping their hopes and dreams for a championship alive.
So all Unicorns needed was G2 to stop the Baron, allow the Unicorns to actually engage on them.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or die. I find it fitting that Xerxes is using the Fnatic Gragas skin, and he had a phenomenal impact in that previous fight. Baron and the lead in Game 3 for Unicorns of Love.
And we had early game in favor of Unicorns, but then G2 Esports was just slowly getting the advantage. Hillesang doesn't get hit by ulti, Perks needs to flash in QSS, and now he's out of position. And then look at Exile jumping in with the offensive Shen ulti, exactly what we talked about earlier. Put it on Exile after Xerxes already engaged.
Yeah, instant reaction right there. The QSS actually broke the expected result there for Xerxes, but it was enough. Now they're kiting. I love how G2 still get Exile, but in the end, Malzahar still has the ultimate available, and it was the failed pickoff from Perks that was a catalyst for this team fight.
And Unicorns, they finally win a fight after baiting and building hope for so long. Sven realizes. Unicorns, okay, so 3 towers to 2. They've got Baron. They had side lane pressure about 15 minutes ago. What do they have to do next to guarantee and solidify a lead here?
Cloud Drake.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes!
Yeah, that bad boy's been alive for quite a while, Trevor.
It is actually quite strange that there have been so few dragons taken in this series. But it's because
now you want to talk about dragons?
Yeah, but I don't care about your boring stat, Trevor. It's
longest living Cloud Drake in a European LCS Spring Split, okay?
And if that doesn't make you very happy, whoa!
Okay, I'm the only one, so.
Yeah, all right.
So
Trevor likes his Cloud Dragons. So you asked the question. They need to keep the map open and then collapse. Just push the side lanes, go back to the mid lane. It's kind of accordion, in and out, and then find somebody with a body slam flash engage. However, G2's comp is catered around re-engaging and punishing overstepping.
All right, Stand United should finish here for Vizicachi. Hillesang will be able to get the redemption down. Sven's arrow falls short. Not going to find the knee of any Unicorns member. In UOL, defensive Stand United, they cannot push that lead.
Season 4 arrow, not good enough.
Xerxes, no flash, but does have cask. G2, I'm looking at their wave clear. Gonna be very reliant here on Sven. Miasma comes out, trying to deny any engage, and UOL, they're not committing for the tower yet. They found Mithy. Mithy flashes defensively, the Wraith comes out, Exile parkours over the wall, and Chain of Corruption slowly spreading. Piercing arrow comes down, Exile is gonna parkour over the turret corpse, but G2 hold, crucially.
Unicorns know they can't just go and hit the tower. They have to respect the damage on G2. We are, after all, like 33 minutes into the game, so one death here can cost a lot. I like the engage showing to then quickly disengage.
Yeah.
Everyone saves the dashes to get back out, so no one actually dies, but G2 with a good defense here.
That also has been the cadence for a lot of the victorious G2 fights. Get and engage themselves, lure the Unicorns in, and then punish. That's what they've been doing consistently well. Mithy goes out with the flash eventually, and then they're hoping to lure the Unicorns forward and kite them out, and then turn on the offensive.
Sven with the Rage Blade build here on Varus, something we see when you play against a lot of tanks, a lot of melee champions where you get a lot of auto attacks off. Then it's actually an insane amount of damage he gets. Trick getting caught though.
All right, can he get out alive? Flash is available to him. Repels up, lands down. Not killed yet. Vizicachi's taunt was short. It was short. No kill secured. Mithy goes around with the Crow Storm. He jumps in. Exile is terrified, but look at the culling. Every single bullet onto Mithy. He doesn't go down. Expect looking to re-engage. Powder Keg goes down. It's popped. There's no boom onto UOL. Trick died in the fight though.
So they got to kill in the end here. We see this engage from Hillesang. Whenever he lands the proper ulti, they do kill someone. That's important for Unicorns of Love. Only QSS right now on Perks.
Ah, that's to feel so bad for Mithy. Going in with the perfect Fiddlesticks ultimate every time. And then you remember, playing support. And you're building redemption.
Support Fiddlestick. The only thing that seems to work at the moment.
It's only one Fiddlestick. It's not even Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, true. Easy peasy for Hillesang though. What Mouseout does best, click R.
What Chen does best, press E.
Miss taunt. Sick ulti, and my team is not here.
And I'm walking out.
Perks wasn't in range really to get any Twin Fangs down. So look, let's commend UOL. They're finding some kills, but Baron has not unlocked a tower. G2, they've just yelled, "You shall not pass. You shall not take our inner turrets," and they've held it again and again and again.
You just ruined a perfectly good quote right there, Trevor.
I think it's copyrighted.
Let's see if they can get something else though. Because Hillesang, flash available, Trick again.
All right, Trick this time around, no flash available, but there's no follow-up damage.
No!
The barrel misses as well. Xerxes overshoots. Chachi was locked down by the cocoon. He's not going to be long for this world. It's a 1-for-1. Top laner for jungler, but no front line outside of Xerxes.
G2 have to push in the mid lane though, and that makes it much easier to force Unicorns towards them. However, Talon's in the bottom lane.
So tower will go down there, but G2 trying to get the mid tower as a trade here. Gotta be careful though with that inhib turret as well on the bottom side. If you are G2, they are recalling now. They're sending some members forward. No ulti from Expect to kill the wave. We get a bit of a small base race here.
Who's gonna win this race? Sven solo with Rage Blade, Hurricane, Blade of the Ruined King.
And the Fiddlesticks!
He's shredding those towers. Fiddlesticks keep lobbing out whatever those things are. Culling manages to drop Perks to 50% HP, but look at Expect. Powder Kegs clear out the wave. So far, it's 2 towers for 1.
Yeah, how are 2 guys defending from G2? There's even flash engage.
All right, Perks goes down. Exile takes him out.
Thank you.
The Inhibitor Tower follows, and now all of a sudden the base race is on. Inhibitor is the target for the Unicorns of Love, and recalls from G2.
That makes you wonder, why was Mithy in the mid lane and not helping his team
Nearly
soak up the
flashed.
engage? There's a banner creep! And it's dead.
Was a banned creep. Unicorns of Love wisely back away this time round.
Hilly flashed forward there, trying to get Trick again, I feel like. Missed it in the end. So another flash down. That is so important for Malzahar in these late game fights that he can do. Flash in. Going for Mithy though, he's flashing out.
He sneaks away. Shen ultimate used, and a moment of reprieve right now for both these teams looking at the setup. And now there's this wave constantly tunneling up in the bottom lane as we're going to require some attention. Luckily, Gangplank can hold it and still have an immediate impact in the fight as he channels teleport with Cannon Barrage.
Man, G2, they just keep fighting and digging deep and scrappy rather, holding.
Scrappy.
Unicorns, how do they finish? Okay, 65,000 gold apiece.
Not fast.
8 minutes into the game.
I mean, as long as there's only 1 QSS on the side of G2, there's a lot of targets that's very easy to actually take down if you are Unicorns. Gotta time the engages properly.
And this player is the fatigue or nerves, they're slowly getting to them, because in game 1 we saw a lot of skill shot accuracy, but now we've seen taunts go wide, Cocoon's missing, junglers getting nether grasped. Definitely excites me if it goes more into a series.
Oh yes, more games is definitely what the Barclaycard Arena in Hamburg wants, and definitely what I want to cast. And it means this Baron cannot be a throw. Trick is going to get taunted up by the Shadow Dash. Here comes Perks on the side. He catches Exile. Xerxes going to body slam to safety. He's already used the cast. The fight is split up. Perks gets cold where he stands. Vizachachi gets another. Exile's on a killing spree. Expect is trying to get 1 back. Hylissang buys some time with the exhaust. So far, 4 members of G2 are down for 2 of UOL.
Remember, we got super minions in the bottom lane. Chachi's TPing in. Samus full HP. He can finish the game.
He can indeed. Look at those death timers. Vizachachi's ushering in the super minions. Here come the Unicorns. Expect has to wave clear against 3 members of the UOL. Samus is on the inhibitor, Nexus turret. Body slam onto Expect. He's the
Just in
last
the
man
tower.
standing. Expect goes backward. Stand United. Buy some time. G2 are ace. They've done it. The Unicorns of Love with their backs against the wall, with no more room for error, with no more possibilities for mistakes. Pick up their first win in the Spring Finals.
And we got ourselves a series. The Unicorns, they strike back, igniting the Barclaycard Arena right here in Hamburg. And we're going to game 4.
Letting the crowd speak for them. Ramar warmed the team, the audience, the arena up. And it was not a clean win, but
it was a win.
It was a Unicorns win.
Yes, a lot of fights. A lot of, weird engages at first, and then they figured it out in the end. And whenever it was around the Baron, Unicorns of Love managed to actually find the right engages.
And a wise analyst once said, it doesn't matter how you win.
I agree.
What matters that you does.
It just,
That's what he said.
As long as you win.
Grammar errors
So-
and text.
Yeah, that probably fits pretty
Two
well.
things about that one. Exile played out of his mind, dodged absolutely everything, was the right place at the right time. And then Xerxes, every single team fight. He ended the game 2-0-13.
I mean, I also want to highlight a guy you actually talked about in the game. You were kind of questioning Samus and his impact in some of these fights. In the end, it feels like he kind of figured out, hey, I should just follow my tanks, even flanking to the back line. They were chasing down Perks in some of these fights here, and Samus was actually the man who picked up a ton of kills on Lucian in the very important fights in the end.
7.
Kills?
Yeah, 7 kills.
great.
7 assists too.
Fantastic. 7-1-7 his final score. I think you also have to kind of criticize G2 just a little bit. Those team fights again and again, the flanks, they worked early, but then they didn't work as the game played out, and it felt like those chaotic, splits allowed UOL back into the game.
I concur.
Thank you very much, Greppo. UOL in their hometown are fighting back against the defending champions. Let's head to the analyst test to take a look at exactly how they won.
Thank you very much, and thank you also, Mitch. You picked up on the fact that we were ready and you didn't want to blabber and take time away from us. I mean, blabber say, of course, very interesting things as well. But we're going to break down this game. The Unicorns of Love, they're not out of this one yet. They are back, and we want to start by what turned the game or what put the game decisively in the Unicorns of Love's favor. Baron and fight.
And what exploded the crowd as well. The stadium lit up after they saw the Unicorns of Love getting such a successful fight. Perks trying to go for this engagement, it missed the mark. He didn't get the target that he was after, and that was the go signal for the Unicorns to just turn things in their favor.
This is just a problem when you play control mage mid lane, like especially Cassiopeia, you have no jumps, you don't have really like a good disengage, so you always need to stay with the team. In this team fight, Perks was like alone, split apart from the team, so they just capitalized on it, engaged on him, killed him, and there was like no way afterwards that they can win a fight 4v5.
And I mean, suddenly you have an assassin in the mid lane compared with the Shen, and then you see what you can do in the team fights, like Exile just going ham, and it really worked out for you all.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that Exile, he picked the Talon, and he didn't get any kills early, but he played like a man possessed. He was jumping over all of those walls trying to get the kills, and it seemed like he wanted to put the team on his back.
That's kind of what you do on Talon.
That is what you do on Talon, but he did it a lot, okay?
I think UOL just changed what we said before in the first game. They picked the Shen and combined it with the Talon or with an assassin mid lane. Exactly what we said before, and I think it just worked out way better. Like you could see that he could just jump over all walls. He could play way more confident. Yeah, but he could like play way more confident. You know, he could just do these plays because he has someone who is backing him up with a shield, with his taunt afterwards, and you could see that he's performing way better.
Yeah, that also showed in just all the members of the Unicorns of Love. Samex was flanking as an AD carry as well, so they wanted it, and I think they felt the momentum changing around. But let's look at how they got there, Veris, in the first place. Not like game 1 where they got choked out, not like game 2 where it was also pretty lost or not lost, but looking really dire for them after the first instance of the game. How did they approach this game differently?
The big thing for me that I saw from the Unicorns of Love was it was very much Unicorn style in the way that they were constantly smothering G2. It always felt like that they had constant pressure on their opponents, and when we look back at how they made this top lane play happen, it really exemplifies the sort of pressure that the Unicorns of Love are always looking to try and make. And you can see here, they're always looking for opportunities to try and build leads, and they see a window of opportunity here up in the top lane, and immediately they force it.
And a big difference for this game as well was that the UOL bot lane were actually the one controlling the pace of the game. First getting the bot tower, and then together with the jungler getting these top plays with the Melzar and actually setting the team up for success. So a lot of props for the UOL bot lane to kind of snowball the early game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Samok stepped up quite a lot this game. I think you could see that he was on Lucian. I felt like way more comfortable. He made these flanks, he made these engages, and got a lot of kills just from team fighting well and positioning correctly.
This game was super close. Like we have to remember, like 5 or 6 fights were super close, and the fights could have gone either way. And then like G2 could have easily won this game too. But it's the typical UOL win, like super close game and a lot of team fights.
One team fight get Baron.
Yeah, we look at the post-game breakdown here where you do see the gold swings, and especially around that Baron moment, because we are very UOL heavy, and I think it's interesting that you mentioned, well, it was incredibly close, and G2 could have just as well closed it out. So what then was their kind of critical error?
It was
Baron,
it was very small individual mistakes, like small positioning mistakes from Perks. We saw him in the mid lane being a little bit greedy, not using his flash, and then ending up getting picked off. Again, in the around the Baron fight, he was in the wrong position once more, and perhaps G2, maybe they got a little bit lax, maybe they got a little bit overconfidence, but in reality it was just Unicorns of Love effectively punishing these very minor mistakes from G2.
And a lot of props to Sax in this game. He really played incredible on Gragas, almost like watching me play Gragas. But, but yeah, he really found the Perks in a lot of fights, and that's kind of what Gragas want to do against the Cashew, who doesn't have any escapes. Like you want to force him into the team and kill him, and that's what he did.
Yeah, they did. Unicorns of Love win. Power, you were saying the third game is going to be the most important to see if their picks work, if their plan work, if their play styles work. So what are we going to see from now on?
Well, to be honest, it's not only this, but now UOL knows they can win and they can take off games from G2. So it's like this momentum as well, taking it into game 4 is really, really important. And as Josh already said, it was a close game. So maybe G2 feels a little bit dismantled now after like losing this really close game. I think if UOL can like take this momentum into the 4th game and get a good draft, I think it's really good for them.
I also feel like this series has come down to team fights, and I feel like both teams should look into this and draft for that, because it doesn't really look like the early game has like super huge impact. Like whoever has the better team fight in mid game kind of just takes over the game, I feel like.
And the most important thing I feel is we can see G2, they're not stocking up on potassium. Right now, Unicorns of Love, they're full of bananas right now. They're looking keen and they're looking eager to bring us to a 5-game set.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that. You think about what you said just there. So you guys obviously all had, or you guys had G2 pegged as the winner 3-1. So this is all going according to plan. Anyone want to revise their predictions yet?
Well, I said I believe in magic. Do you guys believe in magic now?
Not really.
No, not at all. Science is the future.
Yeah, realism here on the desk. We'll see what happens. Well, the Unicorns of Love, they have one on the board, and this is the big test for the UOL, who need to win again, and in Game 4, rather, to stay in the series. The next fight is right around the corner. Stick around.
Hylissang's very far forward. Samex is falling. Hilly, why? Gets caught out. G2 with first blood. Cannon Barrage comes down. Hylissang gets onto Perks, but he's dead already. Here comes the Shadow Assault. Mid needs to target, but he still stays alive. Sven, the flanking AD carry, is the deadliest AD carry. Exile parkours over the wall. Dashes to expect. Gets dropped. Sven is locked by the Nethergrass. Drick is scared, and Sven is dead. G2 are aced. Perks gets cold where he stands. Vizachachi gets another. Exiles on a killing spree. Expect is trying to get one back. Hylissang buys some time with the exhaust. With no more room for error. With no more possibilities for mistakes. Pick up their first win in the Spring Finals. Welcome back to the Barclaycard Arena and Game 4 in the Spring Finals. G2 need one more win to hoist the trophy for the three-peat. But the Unicorns of Love need 2 more wins to host it for the first time ever. And in Game 4, Unicorns of Love have side selection. They have picked blue sides.
And
Riddle me that.
Well, I think after the last game, they realized that, you know, by having G2 ban out 3 junglers and then leaving the Gragas open, that was actually good for Xerxes. Definitely was way more successful for him in this game here. This might just change up the strategy for G2 quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe they felt like they had the right answer to each individual pick. Like they had good lane matchups here and there, but they felt like when they put everything together, they weren't getting a big team benefit. They were losing all the side lanes. The Talon was quite a nuisance. So we may just see the Talon ban removed, because other than that, Perkz was dominating the mid lane matchup.
In that second phase, yeah, the first phase was okay for G2. Obviously, where they gave away Gragas and picked the Lee's Varus on their side. Very, very strong combo. And then counter-picked the Shen with the Gangplank.
Yep.
And that is also a pick you didn't have to go for if necessary. If you are fighting a lot, GP does not always offer exactly what you're looking for. A cannon will give you more lane control, as an example.
Now I'm excited to see what Unicorns of Love do in this game. They've picked up a win. G2 historically have bounced back from losses with the exact right answer in how to defeat their opponents. They are famous in Europe for adapting in best of series against European competition. Let's see them adapt. Let's see what they change. They're on the red side as well. If they expected it, if they were caught off guard by that decision, maybe that also impacts their ability to change. You know?
I mean, they chose the red side earlier, so they're more than confident playing it. They have a great reactionary pick and ban, but just earlier they found themselves a little bit surprised by the talent pick, and that happens, and that's why you have multiple chances in a best of 5. Let's see how they approach it. I like the fact that they're also targeting Hylissang's Malzahar here, because while it is able to be played around, it is still quite a nuisance.
And I think also what G2 are doing now, as we talked about before Champs League Studies, they're just changing up the jungle bans, because if
he has heavy feet, by the way.
He does a impressive sound he's making there. But if Gragas is that successful as a top laner, as a jungler, then don't ban away 3 other junglers, because then you give him anyway a good pick. So now they leave everything open in the jungle pool.
Maybe that's a good sign for the Unicorns of Love. Xerxes taken so many heavy hits this series.
He's just going to first pick Graves if it's open and take that into the jungle. It is the #1 jungler. But never mind, that one got banned.
Probably still a correct statement.
Very specific reason.
If it's open.
If it's open, very true.
It is not open.
Rumble and Rengar are the 2 we're kind of looking at right now.
I'm looking at Rumble right now.
Okay. Tell us why.
I think he's just quite a strong champion. He spits flame.
I also like it for Vizicachi. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, it's a strong early pick. Pushes a lot of lanes when the Chen comfort is removed. It's still a flex pick into the jungle, but Unicorns of Love have this nasty habit of picking flex picks for top jungle early, and then picking the other.
Yeah, like right after, being like, actually, never mind.
Never mind, we're not flexing.
We don't want to flex this at all. We still look at AD carry as the most likely choice here, unless we're looking at a potential like support because they're 2 bans. But I think the safest choice is just go your preferred AD carry.
Yeah, if they go Ashe here, they can mimic the style from Game 1, where they have lane gank, Ashe Arrow into mid CC, into Rengar jumping. He can fulfill a similar role as the Rumble jungle did in Game 1. They will have to ban out Tahm Kench for that to be a little bit easier, but they can even still do it into the Kench.
Okay, we get that Talon now. Talon in this comp here with AP from the Rumble is going to be even more successful if executed properly. Gragas, I'm expecting that to be the jungle pick, and obviously Rumble top. They could still surprise in the end. Have been stable meta picks for a while. Camille top lane coming in from Expect, and this is where if you actually put the Gragas top lane, you have a pretty good matchup for Vizicachi, but the Rumble can still push in Camille early.
And the one benefit the Camille brings, though, is lockdown for Talon. He was running around in these fights quite chaotically, and you can't counter. Just put him in that Camille ultimate, and then Sven should be able to kite.
I personally would like to see this Rumble go to Vizicachi. He's played a little bit more the utility role this series. We loved him as a carry, all split long. We're in phase 2 picks and bans.
Kaelin should come out then.
Yeah, Ashe locked in and Varus banned.
Ooh, Lucian, they want him on the Kaelin.
Okay, they're trying to push him over to Caitlyn. Now, Ashe does have a good lane matchup against Caitlyn. There could be a Zyra blind pick coming in from Mithy here to just like kind of really secure lane dominance. Seeing as Karma and Lulu are banned, the 2 shielding supports on the other side. The other option is you don't pick support here. You just pick your mid laner because you already know it's Talon.
Yeah.
And your last pick support for Mithy with things like the Tahm Kench.
You can, because Zyra, while having disengaged, there's a lot of like lingering backline damage. She is very prone to getting caught. There is no forward playing tank either. Everybody's waiting for somebody to make the first move. But if you match Zyra into this comp, nobody wants to be the first guy to go in here.
And that's what they're doing now. They're showing mid laner. They know the matchup. The reason they're not going Cassiopeia here is because of the Gragas and Rumble.
Yeah.
It is so hard to play this very low mobile mage in the back against these champions. So LeBlanc offers way more mobility, a lot of pick potential on the side of G2.
I could honestly see a Thresh pick come out too and just have him reposition in fights with Lanterns if people get, you know, stuck on the Equalizer, need to run away from the town. But it's so hard to play that matchup though. It leaves you incredibly squishy.
So we do get the Caitlyn, as Crepo mentioned, after the AD carry bans. Thresh is
What a
also an option.
surprise.
Whoa!
They're all banned
One
now.
AD carry left. But Thresh is also an option here for Hylissang if he wants to take that one down to bottom lane. But it's actually tricky with this blind support pick for him.
They're so afraid of the arrow combination though. When you've seen a laning ganking jungler like Trick plus arrow, they need somebody to make it a bit easier.
We could actually even see Mithy's Braum against the Tahm Kench here. Braum ulti against Gragas is fantastic. Braum is good with exhaust to just tag their Talon in-game, and you can pick him against his Tahm Kench lane.
Because he wants some melee matchups.
Yeah, I think actually Braum will be a super good pick here for Mithy, and it's a staple in European finals that Mithy gets at least one game on the Braum.
And the amount of projectiles he can influence in a game-deciding manner. He can block Gragas ultis and force them to explode in front of his feet instead of going wide. He can block potentially Caitlyn projectile damage in multitude of ways. He can get rid of the Talon engage too by exhaust and stacking concussive blows. So it's a very potent pick.
Is locked in, is secured, so G2 seem to once again have answers to the Unicorns team composition.
I mean, coming into this, we were kind of writing down missing meta picks for both teams. The list was actually fairly long for Unicorns of Love. The list on the side of G2 was like Gragas, top lane, done. That was it. That was the only champion we haven't really seen of like standard meta picks. So they have a massive champion pool across multiple lanes, and then they will always give you flexibility in a pick and ban phase.
Great co-casting synergy when he says we, and it's actually his list.
We
not
made
gonna take credit for that one. That was the Vicious list. Well researched.
Well, we didn't even get to talk about all the other missing picks.
Well, maybe we won't need to. The Unicorns of Love have got themselves a carry in the top lane for Visit Shachi. Let's see if he can pop off and force the deciding game 5.
He needs to have a clean game. My voice needs to survive as well.
That's fine. You just stay very quiet until the soft analysis comes in, and we'll do the yellow things.
If anybody at home is playing any sort of mini games, let's look at what the win conditions are for both of these two teams.
A lot of rotations.
Where the macro will shine. The coaches shook hands, and so do the mascots. Romain and Lothar, UOL and G2. The Unicorns and the Samurai. Who will win? You guys know how Twitter works. You guys know how the wave works. Let's hope you guys know how to chant, because we're all losing our voices just a little bit.
Crowd will cast the last game.
It's game 4.
Hey, name a more iconic duo.
May you find someone that looks at you like Romain looks at this Hamburg crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, Perks on the LeBlanc against Exile on the Talon. That's a matchup I want to watch. Flash teleport for Perks in his mid lane. Going to be some side lane pressure that G2 can open up.
With the double TP from G2, they will have, of course, the map advantage, but that doesn't matter for the Unicorns of Love because they're looking to go mid lane. We've repeated it so many times, we've said it so many times, it's been true every single game. Xerxes in the last game has some good Gragas engages. Also had moments where he was holding on to that flash when they could go for something. I want to see him in this game be even more aggressive on it, because his team is bringing a lot of damage right behind him.
Quite tense, no more shenanigans, no invades here. We need to see if this talent pick from Exile can find return success, if they can bounce back here, or if Perks will welcome him yet again in the lane kingdom.
Also, he's not going to have as many outplay opportunities. You know, Petrifying Gaze you can turn away from, you can dodge, you can use your ulti and walk off of Miasma. You can't do the same things against distortions and chains if Perks is hitting his skill shots.
And chains track you while you're invisible too, which is a very tricky thing to deal with.
So great to hear the support. Hamburg, thank you for bringing the noise here in the Barclaycard Arena. cheering on the two best teams in Europe.
All right, let's see where these jungle paths end up ending. Maybe potential ganks. Obviously, Rengar, very little pressure early on, but Xerxes, he could technically spice it up.
Definitely so. Normally though, again, as we talked about in the last game's Gragas, do save first clear. Maybe look for flash gang, but you don't have to. You really do not have to. For both junglers, actually. Obviously, it comes down to placing vision then. It's not like you're just not going to do anything in the early game. Mid lane, though, is going to be fun because it's going to be an action-packed lane.
Yeah, but which lane does Xerxes decide to prioritize? You know, you've got carries and damage all over the map.
But I'm looking at the big story here. The one red thread between the entire series here. How long is this Cloudbreak going to live?
We'll find out.
Most likely long.
We'll find out. I got some support on Twitter, by the way. They appreciated the updates.
So bottom lane here, very good early trade because of level 2 spike from the Unicorns of Love, the classic bot lane power spike. Chachi, what you can do as a pushing rumble is you go in and you ward the enemy top camp here. You see it's already cleared out, so you know, okay, Rengar did his path from Raptor into red buff into Crux, and now he's gonna go to the bottom side. So you actually now know where the jungler is without even seeing the jungler.
Yeah. The deeper you can place those wards, the more satisfaction your team will get from it.
Talked a lot about wards, actually. G2 have been warding a whole lot more than UOL this series. Take a look at those numbers. On average, 12 control wards more per game.
And that makes me happy. As a Vision enthusiast, Denial Vision is playing that control ward game. However, it's never the amount of control wards that you should judge. It's how you use them. And maybe Unicorns have just been slightly more efficient in the last game. Who knows?
Well, help them win the game, so can't argue with that. Xerxes wants to try to put some shenanigans.
He got it!
Gets the steal.
And that goes back to that ward that the Fisher was praising from the Rumble in the top lane. It is all connected.
The New is down on bottom lane. The New is near that blue buff. Invades in also because they're pushing the bottom side.
Yeah, it ties in the push in the bottom there. Visachi with the front step. It was in the highlight reel for his MVP tribute video as well, how he's willing to dodge forward, sometimes with flash. And he also knows how Camille works, because he baited Kawashard.
He did bait Kawashard. Poor guy, man.
Or did Kawashard bait himself?
I think he baited himself. But that's why Kawashard is not playing in this final, and Chachi, he is playing in the final. Trick, though, he's on the Healer Sang.
He is indeed, but so is Perks being jumped on. Exiles burning
Oh!
diplomacy. They trade 1 for 1.
But Perks is first. And in the matters of the first blood place, it does matter who finishes first.
You have to remember, though, Perks running teleport. He can return to lane instantly. Exile needs to run after, of course, respawning. So there might be a little bit of experience advantage for Perks after that 1 for 1 trade. So in the end, actually worth it for him. Small little advantage he's going to gain.
Yeah, because Strick was about to tax the hell out of that lane, but Perks
like, no, please, ping, 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 ping.
Oh, Trick's going in, flash over the barrel.
Very aggressive, waiting for those cooldowns. Moves forward, the bowler strike connects. Remember that teleport you guys talked about? That's going to deliver chains onto Xerxes. He goes down, Trick gets a second.
And this is why Trick is such an intelligent player. When you're watching this scene unfold, I guarantee almost nobody could see that there was a kill opportunity there. We're wondering, why is he flashing? And as we are slowly figuring it out, Perks, 4 seconds ago, he said, I got him.
Of course, I'm gonna TP in, man. I'm gonna take this guy down, and it's a good start now for G2's mid laner. Bottom lane still under pressure, but they're keeping even in CS, which is very important for them. Exile, this lane might get tough for him.
Ooh, and this flash body slam early on from Xerxes is really being punished here. If you're Gragas and you get killed on your level 5, it really slows down a lot, because you want to get 6 and then they gank, and if they read that gank and you have no flash, suddenly the pacing turns into Rengar favor.
Beautiful point blank chain from Perks. Catching Exile the moment he jumps in with that Q.
That makes you wonder why the LeBlanc was left open in this matchup, because Perks has shown an affinity for this champion in its multiple forms, really, even despite the changes.
And of course, if you go back to those picks and bans, Syndra, Karma, and Lulu taken away by UOL. That Karma all series long. Obviously could have changed the impact, but this is a replay of that first blood trade.
Starts as a 1v1 here. Exile also kind of trying to bait in Perks a little bit, and Xerxes does show up. Nice mind games as well. Looks like he's body slamming away and then turns around with the flash, but it's the 1 for 1. But then TP back for Perks.
Dramatic zoom in for the final tip.
Yeah, but then this read, the flash over the barrel, not getting slowed. Smite comes out, but it doesn't really do too much, and he knows Perks is coming back from teleport. And this is, and it honestly was pretty hard to spot that was a kill opportunity, and major props to Trick for realizing so.
It's a good timing as well, knowing Xerxes' flash was just used before here. So bottom lane now, Sven and Mythic getting a bit more breathing room. Also with obviously no flash on the enemy Gragas, not level 6 yet. They don't really need to respect the jungler. And Trick is level 6 already.
And they can mimic the style from game 1. We talked about it time and time again. You know, this arrow into combo. Also, this lane spikes incredibly hard on level 6. Despite Tom Kench being able to kind of mess with your flow and using Devour, you can then stun him and just chain CC and get so much damage out.
But I want to see then Unicorn say, okay, if you're going to play bottom side as G2, let's go top lane. You got this Camilla here that's not tanky at all against Exile because he's obviously stacking MR against the Gragas and the Rumble. So Exile can go up there with these early AD builds and really punish Expect.
Yeah, notice how Exile is constantly playing in his minions. Whenever he dashes forward to hit Perks, he always wants to be behind the minion. He needs to be outside of chain range. And obviously Perks, he can harass with spells in the minion wave without drawing aggro, so it's quite hard to really position well in this matchup.
Exile currently doing okay farm-wise. Got himself 3 of those long swords, and as you look towards the top lane, level 6 for Chachi, Xerxes, Trick, and Expects. If any fights were to break out, no room for error.
A small thing right there, but thank you, Mithy, on behalf of all our supports, for actually checking the brush on the way back. So many people skip around these brushes here saying, nah, that's probably not a control ward, and then they actually end up not finding it, and that one ward can end up having a ton of value.
Not an efficient control ward. We talked about how on average G2 have got plus 12 control wards literally.
I mean, it could have been. It depends on your opposition, obviously. And combining Vision with this Ash pick is also really what works for G2 Esports because they always have that hawk shot.
Now, whenever they do play these aggressive lanes in mid, Chachi likes to roam down. He's even TPing now on Rumble. They're fighting.
Mithy's the target. Equalizer comes out. Look how great that is. Mithy and Trick are being tagged. Devour buys some time for Chachi to escape. Where is Samux?
Yeah, but where is Samux? Where is Expect is what matters more because his top lane is left open completely and the map reset will go heavily in favor of G2. They're just stalling bases right now and then poking away, but they have to be careful.
All right, concussive blows. Can't find a stun onto Hilly. It's going to time out. The barrel comes over the wall from Xerxes. Expect has still not teleported in.
And this is so good now for Expect because he's just sitting top lane, doesn't have to fear anything. The fact that this TP backfired from Chachi suddenly makes this pretty bad play for the Unicorns of Love.
Because not only does he get to preserve his teleport once it comes available, still briefly on cooldown, but even if he had it, it's fine. Just disengaging, stalling the bases, get the wave push in, and generally when you want to base in League of Legends, if you can get a push first, that's almost always a good or a better base, and that's exactly what happens here. G2 get the map reset, and it's totally in their favor.
Totally in their favor, and Chachi was actually moving down already, but because the fight was started in mid, they'll force to probably TP in. Braum had flash available though, so Mithy just escaped, and then trading TP for flash is obviously never worth it.
And we're still looking for Trick to find an ulti somewhere. His ultimate is just on cooldown. Maybe he misclicked it in base?
That's an oopsie.
Or is that like a graphical error? I don't know, because it's so close like being used. We don't know, we'll find out.
24 seconds left on it, so it's just on your screen, it's trying to trick all of you. 20 seconds from now, it will be available, and you can obviously use it back on the map. Now, Perks, a lot of freedom in this mid lane. Ahead in CS, got early armor as well, which is fantastic against his talent.
And look at the double control ward. There's one really well-placed ward on the ramp for Unicorns, but that's going to fade. That is a clear pathway for Perks to start putting top pressure. Trick will have ultimate very soon available. He's making sure he's not spotted. He just puts a control ward down.
I have to give a shout out to the Pantheon fans in the crowd all the way here from France. A lot of support yesterday for Soaz and bringing the noise along with the rest of the Barclaycard Arena.
And this is the Physio's favorite gank, Rengar in the top lane.
This is a dead visit, Chachi.
Works.
Donated to Expect. That just looked so easy.
It is so easy. Chachi, no flash on Rumble, no way to get away. So easy to set up that kill, and that's great for Trick.
It's also part of his playstyle. He pushes and pushes and pushes, and he wants to take them in the grave with him. But he had to take a detour this game and was actually falling behind. Economy-wise, he was just too far up, not knowing where Trick was.
It just hurts even more with that early TP from Chachi and the flash. It was just too over-aggressive looking for that one play, and it's now backfired twice for Unicorns of Love and giving G2 the goal advantage early.
And what a terrifying position to be in. G2 1,000.
No flash Rumble and a wall.
Also, don't giggle, don't sniffle at my control wards, Trevor.
Well, I like talking about control wards. We haven't really focused on them a huge amount this series. Because UOL and G2 have given us interesting team fights.
We're gonna get more. We're gonna get more. Because Unicorns again The pressure in mid lane, but Parkour on the way out.
And the crowd is indicating what they want the Unicorns to do. Clap G2. But it's not going to happen, it seems, because they're very controlled. G2 Esports is still 1,000 gold ahead already. And they're just waiting to connect all the dots here. Land the CC and follow up.
Yeah, and when you go back to the first 2 games of the series, when G2 got themselves that advantage, they made the right calls. They didn't get caught up. They didn't make the mistakes. It allowed them to pick up those wins.
And it was also Perks always just being careful when the enemy jungler could be there, but then playing with pressure once he knows he is most likely not there.
Yeah, and at this point here, Perks is hovering towards top side because his duo lane is on the top side of the map, so he knows there's no vision on the bottom side, and that's why he's not going down where Xerxes can actually jump him, unless he sees maybe a kill and he gets baited.
Exile decides to jump in.
And reels him in, he just dances in front of him, gives him the illusion that Perks will overstep, but that was just a complete mind game outplay, and he's using the pressure that the Unicorns must be feeling at this very moment against Exile.
Lane Kingdom is in effect in game 4. Perks absolutely has Exile's number in this LeBlanc matchup.
Yeah, Exile trying to bait the fight, didn't work, so expect bot lane.
He likes going aggressive this series. The super passive tank player Expect has been slowly been fading out. Obviously, he has the support from Mithy and Sven here.
Yeah, and Exile, of course, died in mid, so there's an opening for G2 to just keep pushing in at the moment. Sven is here with Arrow, but they have to respect the fact on the tower.
Look at Trick, look at Trick.
Look
Trick
at
wants to
Xerxes.
come in. Teleport's available for Vizicachi. He's pushing the top tower.
And a bit of a failed rotation here for G2. Engaging on this Tom Kench lane. Once Expect dashes in, obviously they expect that he's there. Yes, that's his name. It's really annoying. Now Vizicachi gets a free turret top.
There's been actually now 2 times where Chachi managed to go down to the opposite lane the fastest, and he got to push in a wave, Expect had to run down and catch it, and lost the wave. Then happens top lane as well now, so Unicorns of Love, while losing a few kills, just like in the last game, are playing around these towers here. Top lane tower is extremely low at this point.
And isn't that beautiful when you use the tempo advantage like that to get a CS lead?
It is absolutely beautiful. It's why we like to see it. It's why it's actually funny because the whole tempo advantage and everything, it's something the pro teams talk about 24/7. But no one else kind of uses
They don't even sleep.
They don't know, it's all the time. They just dream of tempo all the time. But it's obviously not a concept that really works in solo queue very well, so a lot of people don't actually
Yeah, I've tried
get to
telling
use
people,
it.
hey guys, tempo. And
I've seen you try and tell people, and yeah,
Just up the tempo, guys.
you end up
Make it
dying
work.
on your own, and then of course it's the team's fault.
Oh, Perks maybe anticipating the Duke. Not going to find the ethereal chain. Still in a great position, working towards that Gunblade. Also got some ingredients towards Hourglass.
I like
very,
it.
very comfortable.
Get a bit of everything, even some lifesteal in there. Why not?
Drop the CS. Almost pains me.
All right, Hellasang and Samux looking at Mithy. Mithy yells stand behind me and ironically jumps to Sven. And takes stock of the situation. 15 minutes into the game. G2 Esports 1,500 gold up. CS advantage massive for Perks in the mid lane thanks to several outplays. But no towers have fallen just yet.
No, but we're just waiting for 2 items to be fully completed on the Perks here, the Hourglass and the Gunblade, and he will have the damage to kill Exile, and he will have the tools to survive against Exile as well. And then it suddenly becomes all about the big team fights. And we know we're going to get them. Unicorns will soon start hovering around that mid lane. Perks, see if he can stop a recall here. Succeeds.
When I look at the minimap, I can see 2 junglers in and around the bottom quadrant. Number of G2 wards, though, inside UOL's side, so they'll be aware of Xerxes' position. They don't engage yet. So what happens next? What do UOL or G2 want to do to sort of unlock their 2 team comps?
Like, Perks can keep chipping away at the mid lane turret. Obviously, I think G2, they're always happy with a neutral state. If both junglers are revealing each other, they're happy because their lanes are scaling in the side of Camille, and Perks is just winning the 1v1 matchup. So as long as everybody else keeps the 4v4 even, Perks will snowball mid, and that seems to be exactly what is happening right now, and that's why we don't see much action, because the lack thereof will eventually benefit G2 Esports.
Yeah, I really want to see Xerxes trying to make a play with Vizicachi on that top lane to get that tower and like push that lane all the way out and then swap Vizicachi back down to the bottom side and maybe join a fight. But Xerxes is on kind of defending duty here. He's helping his bottom lane stay alive because Trick is around. Like, Xerxes is not here to gank. He's here to make sure they can actually push out a lane.
Yeah, and this is where you play aggro on one side, passive on the other, and the aggro is in the mid lane. Exile is dying again! Again!
Easy. Perks absolutely destroying Exile. Exile got 1v1 multiple times in the semi-final.
And he actually touches his hair every time he dies. It's like his nervous tick, and he's been touching it quite a bit this game. This Perks definitely the better mid laner in this particular matchup.
So just like in the semi-final when Exile would die in lane 1v1 to power Vivo, the other lanes will suddenly pick up all the slack, especially with Chachi up in the top lane. He's the man we're looking at in a game like this. But this tower here, it's so low, but he's not getting any assists, so he can't really just kill it. He's slowly grinding it down. Maybe the minions will help him, or maybe Expect will keep it alive on like 10 HP. Get in there, Chachi!
Couple more hits. Visit
Chachi,
Chachi.
do it!
Specs manages to jump in with the hook shot. Tower goes down. Equalizer comes up. Chachi wants to trade. Flashes away from Trick. Gets the tower. Gets the kill. But then gets taken down.
Now I call worth it. If I'm Visit Chachi right here, you get a TP from Perks, you get ulti from Trick, and you get that first tower gold for your team.
But that is the 4th kill of the game for Perks.
Yeah, 5 out of 6 kills Perks is involved in right now, and it's fine. It is a beneficial trade unless it tips over Perks into such a disgusting point that he can start annihilating anybody on the map wherever he so damn pleases, and that may be worrying for the Unicorns.
Might get a fight in mid lane. Sven with the arrow.
Okay, where's Miffy? He's looking for the Glacial Fissure. Exile's in trouble. No flash, no Shadow Assault. Hila-san gets tagged by the ECA. Now parkour over the wall and Exile's escape. Perks was slowed down by the exhaust. Shadow Assault comes out. Hila-san is taken down by Sven, and Vizichachi teleports in. He's got no equalizer, remember. Double kill to Sven.
Why? Why? Why would you join without ulti on Rumble?
I don't know, because you're trying to help.
Don't help. Just let him die. The guy overextended. It's fine. You lost the support.
And it looked so good for a moment then, but Perks, that was actually a really tricky flash to pull off. Now Samus is trapping Expect here in the bottom lane. Has to run, he's fine. But again, like, it's so hard to actually distortion back and then flash that wall, because the camera movement involved is very tricky. And now we get to see the first part. Watch him go.
You realize the minions won't help him.
He has to do it alone. One man, one mission. Vizichachi. He loves doing this flash on Rumble.
Ah, it's really good. Gets the kill, so then he just forced 3 guys on top side. Summoners, he got the tower, everything. But then this happens in mid. Exile overstays. Now he needs Hila-san to help him. So Hila-san will obviously sacrifice his own HP to kind of tell it out. At this point of view, Unicorns, disengage. You do not need to turn around. But they actually did. Spoiler alert. Vizichachi and Hila-san both died.
And that allows G2 to get their 8th kill of the game. We're getting up to 20 minutes. Unicorns of Love somehow have to find their way back in. This is a game where Unicorns once again do or die. Match point, championship point. The #1 team in Europe and a flight to Brazil is on the line.
Just a flight though. They
can't-
actually get a hotel room too.
I can't make more promises for G2 because they've started doing better. You know, they're looking stronger. IEM made the finals after an interesting playoff, and
No records will be broken this game, Trevor.
no,
My
Get it
favorite
down.
concept in the game.
Main problem though for G2 when it comes to international tournament, Trevor, now you talked about it, it's always been the best of ones.
Yeah.
In Europe, they get to play these BO3s, BO5s. They get to, obviously, if they lose the first game, they get to change things, adapt. They lost the game in this series. They adapted, they changed the pick and ban phase, removed every single jungle ban, and they're looking much better.
And they keep scaling against familiar opponents. That is one of G2's strengths, why they will always be a great European playoff team, because they analyze their opponents, who they play in the European LCS on the regular, who they play in scrims, and they just adapt and improve. It's when they play against opponents they haven't played against picks that they haven't played against, like Aurelion Sol and CLG. Games where suddenly their turrets start falling down early, or super slow games that they're not used to playing. That's when they falter.
So Rito, please make it BO3s. G2 will succeed.
well, G2 are currently succeeding in the final. Equalizer gets thrown down by Vizichachi. Samus is up on the front line. Look at that unbreakable shield from Mibby doing a lot of work. Optimistic, and it fails.
Yeah, they're stalling the 5 because that leaves the side lanes empty here. Expect isn't even pushing onwards because the Tahm Kench defensive rotation comes out right now. Abyssal Void is used because, again, it is all about Perks.
Yeah, now, as we know, G2 scouted this playstyle. They talked about it before the game. We've seen it in the game. They know it's a 5-man mid lane from Unicorns of Love, and they play defensive and they win the side lanes. That's always the answer. When Unicorns are behind in the split push, they try and hard engage. The hard engage in this comp is only Xerxes, but it was Vizichachi with ulti who tried to engage. Needs to be Gragas.
Damage. Vizichachi's down. Just so easily secured by G2. You know, you talked about Perks. He's 2,500 gold up over Exile. Approaching Flame Horizon. Unbreakable blocks a lot of projectile spin. Gets dropped down by an explosive cast. It's a reply kill.
Oh, the
Here
trade!
comes Expect. They swap places. The hook shot doesn't find a
Here's
target.
Perks, though.
And Perks wants to find Samax. Samax gets devoured, distorts back to his original position. Xerxes gets locked in place, but G2 maintain the lead.
Yeah, but it still was one of those flanks that Unicorns were so known for, constantly reappearing in that mid lane. They had to use Tahm Kench ultimate defensively to the top lane, so at least fighting back. But you see just how prepared G2 are and how willing they're still to fight, even if they lose one of their key members.
And I want to turn the attention to UOL just a little bit because they are trying to fight their way back into this matchup. They were the underdogs in the final. And yes, this is the best UOL that we've seen in 5 splits since their debut, since they made finals against Fnatic. But there is still room to grow. There is still things for this team to learn. Champion pools is one of those things that was a big deciding factor. You've seen it play out throughout the series.
Yeah, and while it's the best Unicorns of Love we've ever seen, it's also the best G2 esports we've ever seen. Like this split, more infrastructure, kept the same lineup from last year and just said, you know what, we're just gonna practice, and then we're gonna go to another international tournament, and we're gonna show how good we actually are. Fight up here, though.
Decent sidesteps by Exile. Teleport's coming down from Vizicachi.
Oh, he stops him.
All over the wall. Expect body blocks. Vizicachi throws down the equalizer. Does the Vizicachi flash, but Perks will not fall prey. Expect gets the passive shield. Survives!
He lives!
Survives!
Oh, he's alive in the end. Chachi did get hit by the chains despite him trying to flash. So close when it comes to trading kills. Sven died in mid lane, though.
So he got picked off, but both these top laners did such an excellent job keeping their flashes in the key moment. Now Hillsang, again, he has to use that Abyssal Voyage defensively. When the Unicorns were winning in the split and having such a great performance, he was using that offensively, constantly appearing where they did not expect him. Perks, distortion warding.
Checking. See, is anyone here?
Yeah,
Can
dropped
I
a
kill
ward
someone?
too on the way out. So he's super safe.
Super efficient.
Like how you need the blast gun for that one, so just placing it in the brush and then jumping back out. But obviously taking the blast gun is very
It's
good.
the
'Cause,
style points.
I mean, you gotta
okay?
keep in mind, Unicorns could use that blast gun to kill it.
Knock him out, yeah. He's been consistently removing blast guns before distorting forward, because obviously that could punish him.
And now, obviously, Unicorns comp here. Do you have tools to deal with things like LeBlanc in a team fight? You have the Tahm Kench to help you. But the split push is so hard now because you have this TP LeBlanc always pushing one side, the TP Camille always pushing the other one. So the group mid is once again the call for Unicorns of Love. But as we said earlier, hard engage is only Xerxes, and he's holding on to the flashes still. He needs to use it aggressively. He needs to use it often to actually start fights. So Expect goes in.
No teleports available for anybody when we jump out of this one. The body block was so great.
In the end, yeah, because Exile with the TP thinks, okay, let's chase and kill him. Gets blocked. Could have waited, definitely for Chachi to actually complete the teleport, and this 2v2 would have gone completely different. Exile is probably feeling a lot of pressure on him after dying so many times, and he's making some mistakes that are costing his team a lot in this 4th game.
Yeah, that's when you rub your face. That's when you know it was so close. I wonder if Expect even knew about the passive coming, and this is Sven. Kind of getting caught out here. Let's see. So they're kiting. Yeah, it's Hillsang with a good flash forward. Sven, no flash.
Now let's see whether or not that comes to hurt.
It already happened, guys. It's already happened, and G2 is still winning.
Yeah, 6,000 gold nearly up. The G2 army definitely in a numbers disadvantage here in Hamburg. But they're bringing an arsenal that UOL simply can't compete with
Dive
right
at the
now.
bottom lane.
Chachi with a defensive equalizer. Abyssal
good.
Voyage from Hillsang comes up. Where's the support from G2? Hook shot to get away. Samax has got red buff. He's got a kill onto Trick. The Devour movement speed allows Hilly to waddle closer to Expect. Keeps using that Caitlyn range.
Yeah, but the support of G2 is with their AD carry in the mid lane right now, and they're sieging on this turret. Tier 2 Perks looking to assist as well. They do not want Sven to get caught here, and they're just simply looking for a gold versus death trade. But Xerxes is around.
Oh, Perks goes in quite aggressively onto Xerxes. Unable to get the chains to connect, but the tower survives.
So I like the defensive move here from Tahm Kench down to the bottom lane. G2 diving in, probably thinking that even if Tahm Kench shows up, we get a mid tower at least, and then we then trade tower for kill. But Unicorns do manage to defend. Tower is low. Mid lane tower here is open for them. Chachi flanking, no ulti.
No ulti available. Perks, however, jumps on the back line. The chains lock down Hilly, so does the Ash Arrow. Xerxes spat out for safety. The double destruction. Exhaust comes down. Perks is down. Perks is down. Samax now turns around. He's got double buffs. What is the call?
You have to remember with the new LeBlanc here, it's not about the distortion AoE damage.
No.
It's jump in, hit one target, jump back. He tried to get so much AoE damage down that he got locked in place, and he just
They got annihilated.
Dropped.
There just wasn't enough damage here for the G2 to make a play as they were aiming for. They were playing it super signature G style, super slow here. This is where it all started. Vizicachi, it is the Zonias that buys just enough time for this entire play to work.
Yeah, but now the call for G2 is, okay, guys, they're 3-man bot lane, rush the mid tower, see if you can just trade that for a kill, and then it would have been a good trade for G2.
Problem is, minions are really slow.
They are very slow, you can't really speed them up that easily. This is the mid lane flank from Chachi, but he doesn't have ulti, so it's not really a threat. Then look at perks here. Old LeBlanc, this would have been a fantastic use of distortion. New LeBlanc, that's not where your damage comes from.
Yeah, they could have just focused frontline Vizicachi like they usually would do in a safe range. That is the benefit of G2's teamfighting style this entire series. They just hit the frontline out of range, and they play a much more efficient style. This was over-eager hubris from Perks.
Samux in the last game on Lucian, he went off 7-1-7. He's been kick-started this time around. It's 27 minutes in, guys. It's a 5,000 gold lead for G2, which is still substantial.
Yep.
But Unicorns are showing they can still win team fights as long as they can keep Samux alive and relevant.
Again, it is that pure team fight come from the Unicorns of Love. It's how they want to try and win the game. Chachi is just trying to defend. Exile, looking for a potential pick here.
Has to be careful though.
Exile's gonna parkour over the wall. The engage from Trick. Exile gets caught out by the bowler strike. Samux and Hilly down on the bottom half of your map.
Expect just one, the duel in the bottom lane. Kill Chachi, will take the tower. Expects Camille has been very good this series here. This guy deserves, you know, a lot of credit. It's a guy everyone criticized last year as well.
Yeah,
but now he's been picking up the slack.
Always put in position of the weakest member of G2, but that doesn't inherently make him weak. And right now there's actually Baron pressure for G2 because they have bot lane pushing, they have Expect basing. He's undoubtedly looking to use a teleport in the 15-second window here that Vizicachi is still dead.
Well, luckily, Vizicachi can still TP in to a fight. Equalizer's not available to him, but look at Expect. There's no on-signal from G2.
He waited, then he started pushing once he saw that Unicorns was reacting, and now G2 is going for the Nasher. They need to force them to the base first, then make the play around Nasher. If they kept going for Nasher defense, then they would have just kept split pushing, and this is the beauty. Technically, G2 could have done Baron here, that's why Xerxes is so afraid face checking.
I mean, this playoffs, G2 have just fully unlocked Expect. He's played carries after carries, Camille so many times, and G2 are playing the map extremely effectively. Look at the pressure they're applying around Baron, trying to force UOL's hand to come to them.
Might need the same kind of fight we saw last game for Unicorns to win, where it's G2 starting a Baron, then getting caught a bit out of position by Xerxes on the Gragas, but G2 probably learned from that game. They normally have really good Baron setups. They're not really good at understanding, you know, when is it too risky.
Yeah.
That was one of the problems they had last year, but it would cost them games. Now that we see this one-on-one down the bottom lane, expect nice little thing in the end. He stays with the hook shot on the wall, reactivates it once Hourglass is gone, gets the kill. But yeah, as I said before, last year they lost games due to Baron setups. They lost games because they panicked.
Yeah, and
near the
their
Baron.
in-moment shot calling for Barons isn't the greatest either. When they have to toss and turn around and really shake it up its head, when they have everything planned out, G2, fantastic team. But it's when suddenly convention gets challenged is when they struggle.
We have seen very few poor Barons for them this split. They've been much better at actually doing that, and it's good to see them really improving certain things.
Right now, 4 people in the mid lane, so G2 want to hold, they say passive mindset mid, wait for pressure pop. That is their goal right now, and the Unicorns, obviously, they want to punish that. And as we see, Trick right now is on Krugs. This is something that is so inherent to his style. When a lot of teams are under pressure, they kind of just turtle up. But Trick will always be clearing his camps consistently throughout the game, looking for maximizing the gains.
Look at the minimap. There are no jungle camps available for G2, and I can count 1, 2, 3 of them available for UOL. Of course, they were sieging the mid lane, unable to clear out the jungle at the time, but they're still behind, still trailing the defending champions.
And just like in the series against Misfits from Unicorns of Love, as we said earlier, when Exile fell behind, it was everyone else who picked up all the slack here. Exile just needs to honestly make sure he doesn't die in a side lane, because Samux is now sitting on 3 items on this Caitlyn here. Gragas is fairly strong at this point. Unicorns of Love need to win fights through the AD carry, not the mid laner.
Important Skull Crab here, because we see the bot lane pressure funneled over, so Expect pushes bot, he goes mid, which means that the remaining 4 members of G2 can play topside around the Nasher. Having some vision there with the Skull Crab slows it down. Now Expect obviously goes back to bottom line, because he wants to punish Vizicachi for trying to push out.
Exile on the way though, so Expect he knows he can't really overextend. Well, go for it anyway.
Did not anticipate the engage. Now
Should've
Expect
known.
running away. Throws down the Hextech ultimatum. Shadow Assault as well on the minimap. G2 are making their way to Baron. Electro Harpoon misses. The minions body block, but the Wraith does not.
But this Baron here is risky because Chachi has teleport. There's no mountain drakes, it's just clouds. This simply means that Unicorns can stop G2 very easily and they get a kill bot lane.
Yeah, and G2 is a team that will never seemingly go for a 50-50, so it just was a fake out. Expect overextending, and when you have
Just
this...
when we praised him, you know, he knows. He should go
knows.
aggressive. Oh, he jumps back in.
Hylissang's not going to get caught out by those change decks. He's body slammed over the wall. Still got flash available to him and that explosive cask, and Hilly's going to get access to the Abyssal Voyage. Used it defensively earlier.
Now, a team that is willing to go for 50-50s and is actually a perennial Baron stealing team is the Unicorns of Love here, and they're looking to do something, but they have no Rumble ultimate, and they're facing a very organized G2 Esports.
G2 are trying to flank. Perks comes in with a double distort combo. Mithy's all the way up forward. Look at Samex! Perks has almost insta-gibbed him. Hylissang's going to need to devour Samex in a second. They've got Perks, but it's at the cost of Xerxes. Now UOL are running for their
Teleport
lives.
behind him, Expect is on the way, full HP.
Hextech ultimatum is available. He's going to look for a target. The hook shot. Oh, look at that! The tactical sweep picks up one. Precision protocol makes it a double. Expect's not done. Samex is running for his life. He gets shut down. Trick gets one more, and the Hylissang will be the last standing member for UOL.
Expect will get him down eventually, but this now means the hit. Guys, look at the mid lane.
Oh, look at this battle!
not done
Support versus...
Will win. No, Expect that's not fair. Fatality. G2 Esports.
They still get the inhib. They will get the Baron. Unicorns of Love, they had no Rumble ulti. There was TP on Expect. Them rushing that Baron ended up costing them so much.
And that is what they do. They don't play with 50% of the chips in the pot. 70-80 goes in if it wins. Or if it pays out, they pay out big. But if it fails, G2 may hit the final nail in the coffin here.
If there was ever a UOL style call, that could have just been it.
Yeah, they go down in the same way as they usually try to win.
So, at this point here, if you're Unicorns, you know you have to fight. You can't just finish the Baron, so at least
Yes, you
turn
can.
at the same time. Well, I guess you could try, but that probably means you all die at the same time. But they don't manage to turn at the same time here. Xerxes goes in, Perks flanks from the back and dies. Now, the front line of Unicorns dropping.
And Sammy's also out of the fight because he's so scared of what's going on out there. Good devour. But honestly, it was a great engage though from Xerxes. Body slam flash catching two, but it's his teleport. This was exactly what they were trying to avoid here.
Also with Perks flank, getting so much damage on Samex. Started the whole thing for G2, and then even though it was a good engage from Xerxes, it was a very good flank from the LeBlanc. And a good game overall for Perks.
Really good Zonias there as well. Just buying time. Solo in the backline, he can jump around. He is becoming quite the menace here. Now he's under pressure from Exile.
All right, is there any support? Exile fancies his chances, parkouring forward. Perks is the one that's actually losing this trade. Abyssal Voyage from Hylissang.
And jukes the observers even.
Yeah, no blast cone available, so Perks needs to flash over the wall. The cost of an Abyssal Voyage, but look at G2 with Baron, with a 10,000 gold lead. They've already got an inhibitor in the middle lane. They're taking a second inhibitor in the bottom lane. G2, the army has come, and they just need one final push.
Yeah, and they play as a unit. When you aggressive to one side, he folds, he yields, and the remaining part of the squad then puts cross-map pressure, going for the inhib, and they're fighting against the Unicorn's aggressive style of just commit onto one lane super hard and get the kill with the necessary patience.
Getting that Baron meant everything for G2 Esports. Unicorns suddenly can't push anywhere. Unicorns can't force any fights right now. It's every lane getting pushed in, either super minions or champions.
And last game we saw G2 kind of falter here. They were pushing it a bit too deep. Actually, the second game it was. Not waiting for all the minions right now. A lot more poise. Vizichachi under pressure again.
Yeah, he's got that hourglass if it's needed, and it might just be Baron and Power minions starting to hammer away. Xerxes just body slams the supers to buy some time. 2 Nexus towers remaining, but the last inner turret in the top lane is down. It's a 13,000 gold lead. Samex needs to be devoured as Perks has once again forced him away from the fight.
Yeah, it's the final siege here for G2 Esports. A massive goal advantage. 2 Cloud Drakes to their name.
Rengar in the bottom lane as well, pushing in on the Nexus turrets.
Abyssal Voyage comes down from Hylissang, delivering Samex. They caught Trick out. He's gonna get dropped down. One more hit from Samex. G2 need to back away.
Yeah, but it's great time because there was not a minion wave in the top lane. Vizicsacsi is holding, so maybe the Unicorns can actually survive a little bit longer.
Oh, Vizicsacsi stays alive a few seconds longer. He's already used the equalizer. Body slam onto Expect. Shadow Assault comes out. Where is Samex? Hylissang is already down. Samex is running backwards, kiting, trying to put the damage onto Expect. Ash Arrow catches out onto Xerxes. This could be the final fight. G2, double kill for Perks. Samex is left alone in the base. Vizicsacsi trying to turn it around, but the Nexus turrets are falling.
Sven completely clean house in this fight. Now Perks is buying the final moment.
He will indeed. Perks has led his team to victory. The Nexus is the focus, and this is the G2 dynasty. G2 Esports take the series 3-1. 3 titles in a row.
They came in as the heavy favorites to this series here. Unicorns of Love managed to take that one game, but game 1, game 2, game 4, G2 Esports just were always 1 or 2 steps ahead of Unicorns.
And they came prepared, both in big and ban and in game. Yes, they may falter, but in a best-of series, they always domestically fight their way back.
G2 Esports, once again, the three-peats. Long live the Kings of Europe, G2 Esports! G2 defend their title against the strongest opposition that Europe could muster. And it fell short. Unicorns, it was a fantastic spring split. The crowd behind UOL the entire time.
But it doesn't matter whether the crowd or the fans are behind them. They have to bend the knee to the king.
I mean, we heard it in the end. People were cheering for G2 because
Yes.
you need to accept that these guys are a fantastic team. They're dominating in Europe. They will represent us again at MSI, and they talk so much about showing how good they are,
And they
deeming themselves.
They understand League of Legends when it comes to skirmish, team fights, rotations, macro. They have the full package.
Mithy had some strong words in the Berlin studio, saying to fans, believe in us, give us a chance. Now G2, you have your chance to prove your worth, to earn the respect of Europe, much like UOL has today.
And they can be happy with their split. Obviously, they're building up quite the foundation here, both culture, in team, in fandom. And it has been a successful split for the Unicorns as well.
It's an organization investing in European talent, young talent as well. They're not going for the big transfers. Xerxes came from Turkey, and it's been a fantastic addition, obviously.
It's a new team in Unicorns of Love.